So I'm sure you have hundreds of great success stories, but is there any sort of one story in mind that you have in mind of sort of the impact this program has had?
Like, for example, we just got back from Uganda and we had 21 women come with us. And since we've returned, the women, very independent from off the mat, have now organized, created, got their own URLs, have managed to get fiscal sponsorship, and are creating their own projects to continue the ongoing support of some of the organizations that we worked with out in Uganda. And they're inspired, they're focused, and they're really taking this role of leadership to a whole nother level that has nothing to do with me or off the mat. They're just taking it and running. And that's what we want to see. We want to see people develop the self-confidence necessary to be able to think like, oh, I can take this to a level once unimaginable, once given just a couple of little skills. You build a school in a community that doesn't have access to education, where the nearest school system is 2.5 hours away, where you know that as of this year, 400 children are going to be getting an education. I know exactly what that means. It means less alcoholism. It means less sexual abuse. It means more jobs. It means less HIV. It just means so much in the consciousness of these children. And how do you measure that? Like, it's same with the birthing center. Infant and mother mortality rates are so incredibly high in these environments, and we're creating birthing centers where the practices will be safe, where the women will get their physical and emotional needs met, and hopefully be able to bring into the world children who aren't dying unnecessarily based on simple things like cutting the umbilical cord with a rusty scissor, with a dirty scissor. Lives are going to be saved, children are going to be educated, babies are going to be born, all because we did something very simple, which was just to raise some money and support grassroots organizations that already exist within these countries who are doing incredible work, but they can't get the funding. So we come in with the funding, but it supports, they know what their culture needs. You know, we're not coming in and saying, oh, we think you need a shopping center. We're going in and saying, what do you need? What do you want? And they tell us, we need a birthing center, we need a school. And we say, great, here's the money.
There's a particular skill set or perspective that we tend to refer to as feminine, that women have more of an availability of tapping into, that the world needs today. Are these skill sets, what we're really trying to invite to come back in?
Yeah, women definitely ask very profound and deep questions, and are willing to connect to their vulnerability in ways perhaps that men haven't yet been invited to do. Vulnerability is the access point to surrender, and it is what allows us to feel more connected and more inclusive. Without vulnerability, we get very addicted to our tension. And tension, we use it as a way to create control and therefore separation. And I think that tension has been a survival skill of the men in our culture for many, many years. And it's something that can't change instantly, because if you release the tension and you're feeling the vulnerability and you don't have the tools to support that, I would imagine that would be incredibly scary. So it's a gentle process that I think that men need to go through in order to trust their vulnerability and to create a safe language around it in this process of self-exploration. Now, with that said, there are amazing men out in the world today who are vulnerable and sensitive and have better skills than even myself in communicating deep and emotional truths. And my hope is that men like that are raising incredible children, and that they'll be willing to be more fearless in their community about creating environments so that other men can feel comfortable expressing themselves. So I'm very hopeful.
Yeah.
And I celebrate what is, but I also see the potential of what can be.